My mom is a huge Harry Potter nut. She and my dad actually met in a Harry Potter IRC, like Discord but for old people. In the early aughts got married, had kids, and from day one decided to embarrass us for life by naming us after some Harry Potter and Star Wars characters. It's honestly been hell. I have a stupid name, and since we were little my parents have forced stuff like Harry Potter, Star Wars, Marvel movies, etc. down our throats. Everything is about dragons and magic and blah blah blah. I'm so sick of it. Every birthday, every holiday, everything is just organized around fandom. So just like every Christmas, the days leading up to Christmas we have to sit down every night and watch Harry Potter movies. I can usually get away with knitting or drawing on my iPad during this, but this year my mom was like, let's just have a technology and distraction-free night every night. I arranged to go over to my friend Missy's house instead for like 2 nights. Missy's family is normal and likes things a normal amount. My mom got really mad and started talking about how it's a family tradition and how I'm basically rejecting her, and went on her whole thing about how you wouldn't exist if it wasn't for Harry Potter. I finally had it and just yelled, I don't like Harry Potter. I don't like Star Wars. I couldn't help it. I started crying because I was just so frustrated, because everything always has to be about Harry Potter, this, Star Wars, that, and now that we're all older they started doing Game of Thrones. Everything is centered around some kind of movie or TV show or book series. Just once is I want my family to band around something that doesn't have to do with media or these nerdy things. We live in Utah where we have like 5 national parks, and even though I ask every year for my birthday, well, my sister called me saying that mom was angry and to just come home and to stop with the theatrics. I told her that I'm sick of having all this old nerd stuff crammed down my throat, and just once I want to have a normal time watching normal Christmas movies and not having to pause for lightsaber battles. I am a 33 years old female, and I found out that my ex-husband, 37 male, was cheating on me when I was 7 months pregnant with our son. I got a divorce and we share custody of our 3-year-old son. My ex-husband's girlfriend tried to get involved in my parenting several times. She even commented on my son's name, implying that we should agree on a name we all want, not just what I wanted, and tried to dictate what he should and shouldn't have. As a result, she started throwing stuff of his that I paid for myself. Honestly, it's frustrating because I'm barely getting by with the money I have and cannot afford to buy replacement for all the stuff she throws but my ex-husband says it's her house and she gets to decide what can and can't enter. I made a crochet blanket for my son with his name on it. This blanket is special to me, and the tools I used to be able to make it cost me money. Not to mention the time and effort it took to get it down. I sent my son to stay with his dad days ago, and he wanted to take the blanket with him to sleep with it. I don't know exactly what happened, but when I came to pick him up he told me his dad's girlfriend took it away from him and threw it out, leaving him with no blanket to sleep with at night as punishment for him for not accepting the one she offered. I was furious. I called his dad, but he hung up on me. I sent him a text explaining the situation, but he texted back telling me that I should stop the drama and go look for a job if I have so much free time on my hand, instead of picking on his girlfriend. I felt frustrated. I visited his family, who are good to me, and told them about what their son's girlfriend did. Now it's worth mentioning that she's been working hard for their approval and to get on their good side. They were shocked to know about what she did. They all flipped out on her and started calling her out. My sister-in-law took it further by putting this on social media, which made other family members see what she did. My ex-husband called me yelling about my pathetic attempt to turn his family against his girlfriend. I could hear her freaking out in the background while he was lashing out at me, saying I ruined every chance she had to have a good relationship with her future in-laws. I hung up and felt absolutely horrible, even though I was just venting to his family about what happened and felt frustrated. I'm not sure anymore, since the whole family aren't speaking to her SI, that might have a lasting impact on their relationship with her. My son's dad is going through some financial issues at the moment and struggling to make ends meet, and I try to be understanding. I try my best to give my son nice things. Now his nice clothes are reserved for going out. If he wants to play, that's fine, but he can go and play clothes. I do not want him playing in those clothes, and I send him over there with a bag of causal clothes. We go to mass every Sunday and I have him dressed nicely. Now during mass I gave him to my ex because at that point it is now his week to stay with Alex. However, every single time, Alex will come back to me and his clothes will be wrecked, whether it's played in dirt, ripped. The buttons are off, the jeans are stained or ripped as well. I've thrown out multiple shoes because my ex will not have him change into the play clothes that I sent him in and just let him play in the nice clothes. I do not have him like this all the time. I don't have him dressed dressy or in his nice clothes all the time, just when we're going to something important. Most of the time he's in stuff that he can play in, and comfortable clothes. It's not like I have him in that all the time to where I'm always stopping playtime to change. At this point I'm so over the nice clothes being ruined because he refuses to dress him and play clothes for whatever reason. So before mass ends I will have my son take off the nice clothes and dress in casual clothes. I've been doing this for about 2 months now, and it has helped my bank account a lot to not have to spend a fortune whenever they get wrecked. I'll also point out that I tell him this multiple times, every single time he brings him back with nice clothes being ruined. I will send him a message reminding him to please put him in play clothes before he plays in the mud or the park, etc. However, lately my ex has been very upset that I'm not sending him in nice clothes. I told him that I used to, but he kept on ruining them for whatever reason, and I don't want them ruined. He's saying that I'm flaunting in his face that he's broke right now and can't afford to buy him such nice clothes. That is not at all the case. I said that that is his own insecurity talking because I have never ever done that, and I'm giving him multiple chances. I'd even be fine if he at least washed them to the point where they weren't unwashable and stained. However, he keeps saying that I am rubbing in his face that he can't buy him nice clothes right now. He needs those clothes whenever they go out to somewhere nice, and I'm being an asshole to him because he lets his kid play, and I don't want him to enjoy his time with his son and they're just clothes. I said if it has such a little significance to him then he doesn't need them that bad, and there is no argument here. He's pissed at me. I told her to a couple of my friends and family and they agree that I'm the insensitive to his situation. I have 2 sisters that I'm close with. I also have a niece, Leah. Leah's 16, and after my ex-wife decided to split up and divorce due to infertility problems that lasted for 5 years, I started a college fund for Leah to help her go to her chosen college. That was in 2019. Now I visit my mother's home, where my sister and Leah are living, every week to spend the weekend together. This past weekend I was asleep upstairs while my mother, my sister and Leah were in the kitchen. I came downstairs to grab a glass of water and heard my sister talking about my ex-wife expecting a baby with her new husband. This struck a nerve and I kind of froze from shock. I then heard Leah react to the news repeatedly saying, "I told you so, I told you so." Then explained she's always thought that I was the one with a problem for not being able to have a baby with my ex, but that I was too afraid to admit due to fragile masculinity. I could not believe what she said, but what made it worse is her following statement about how my ex was smart to get a divorce before it was too late. I went upstairs and into the room and shut the door and stayed there for hours. Mom and sister saw me about to leave and insisted to know what the problem was. I didn't want to argue, but I told them that I heard what Leah said about me. Leah stopped eating and got quiet. My sister tried to play dumb, but I told her I heard their entire conversation about my ex-wife and her pregnancy news. My sister tried to backpedal, saying Leah is just a kid who doesn't know much about this stuff and was just spouting nonsense. I told them I don't want to talk about it and they refused to let me leave, but I left eventually. I later sent my sister a text telling her about how hurt and devastated I was because of what Leah said, and told her I will no longer be responsible for funding her education. My sister kept trying to call, then texted saying Leah didn't mean what she said and offered to make her apologize, but I didn't feel comfortable being in the same room with someone who blamed me for something that was out of my control and something that literally turned my life upside down. My mother tried to get me to come over so we could talk, saying Leah doesn't deserve me turning my back on her like that. I haven't seen my sister nor Leah after what happened, but they are still trying to contact me, which means there's still a room for a discussion, and so I've decided to go see them tomorrow. Sit down together and have a long conversation. But this, I admit that I was mad when I told my sister about the college fund cancellation. I love Leah so much and see her as my own daughter. Unfortunately, her dad, my brother-in-law, is deceased, and so I understand losing a parent at a young age and relate to the kind of hurt she carries inside. Lost my father in an accident when I was 11, and I think that sitting down and talking things out is the best option before I make any decision. Also, one more thing to clarify, both my ex-wife and I were having these fertility issues. Both sides, but since my ex-wife got pregnant soon after her new marriage, then my family thought that I was the problem originally. It is what it is, and I'm learning to not words get in my head so easily. I'm not mad at anyone, I'm just trying to move on with my life like anybody else.